This week's episode of The Walking Dead held no punches. Negan was seconds away from being killed by Glenn's son. Hershel Aaron takes out Toby without hesitation, and Daryl and Rosita have to go on a suicide mission. Let's break it all down. What's going on, Walking Dead fans? Welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, the Viking. Make sure you give a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for a brand new video every single day. This week's episode of The Walking Dead, Season 11, Episode 14, was nicely paced. And this episode was really good because it felt like characters were going to die, and some actually did. Negan probably deserves to die for killing Glenn and Abraham at the start of Season 7. And now Glenn's son, Hershel, knows who killed his dad, and he was seconds away from pulling the trigger. And it looks like this storyline between Negan and Hershel isn't going to end anytime soon, with Negan basically telling him, if you pull that trigger, the bad guys will know where we are and we're all dead. You come back to me in a few years when you're older and we'll discuss this, we'll talk about this. And if you still feel the same way, then I think Negan was basically saying, then you can kill me. But this episode I like as well because we had Rosita and Daryl go through this suicide mission for Sebastian because he threatened their kids and their status in the Commonwealth, which was pretty shitty from him. And I like this because they have to go to this kind of building, this mansion, and it's surrounded by walkers. There's walkers inside of it as well. And what they're doing is they're going in to get money. And it's so different for the Walking Dead universe because, look, zombies, survival, bad guys. But the Commonwealth is a society. It's got layers to it, it's got classes to it, and money is the driving force. And Sebastian has been cut off by his mother, Pamela, so now he wants money because he knows there's money in this building, and that's why Rosita and Daryl have to go into that. And Toby has been kind of a good villain, I would say. He hasn't been in that many episodes, but he's done a pretty good job, the actor. And Aaron just brutally takes him out, just shoots him. And this is very interesting because, Aaron and Gabriel have to cover up this entire thing because it would jeopardize their place in the Commonwealth if the Commonwealth found out what exactly went down here, where Aaron and Gabriel intervened in some Commonwealth business. But we have kind of a breakdown of the episode from the Nocturnal.com. The Walking Dead this week showed Negan very, very close to death. Jeffrey Dean Morgan is a great actor. Whether if it's his charming humor or his serious statements, he brings it, just like that particular scene with Negan and Hershel Jr. I was led to believe for 1 second that Hershel would shoot Negan upon hearing those comments from him. The man murdered his dad several seasons ago, so his hatred towards him is justified. And finally we learn that Negan and Annie are expecting a child. That does not sit well with Maggie. Even though Negan and the rest did their best to protect Hershel until Maggie returned, they were stuck in a sticky situation. Also, thank God this episode of The Walking Dead started right where the last episode finished off. Speaking of finishing, Aaron shot Toby to death while he was standing at the edge of the roof. Moments like these make me like the character more, and Aaron did it without hesitation. Daryl and Rosita were tasked in retrieving money from a safe in a house. The mission was originally given to another group, but 1 out of the 12 survived. This was Sebastian barking orders to everyone. That did not scare Daryl, as Sebastian made a threat towards Judith and RJ Grimes. It makes me believe that these two will eventually blow up. During that mission, Carol, Commonwealth soldiers, and Mercer saved the day to help Daryl and Rosita clear walkers. Sad to see the lone woman, who was also rescued, devoured by the dead. So what did Mercer do after they all left the house? He killed his own men. When this happened, I first thought about the conversation Daryl and Mercer had about the Commonwealth. This came into play for that scene, as not everything about that place is all roses. With everything that developed on this week's episode titled The Rotten Core, it is easily my favourite of 11B of The Walking Dead. Action, suspenseful scenes, walkers, and great acting is all I want from The Walking Dead, and this week's show showcased all of that. Pretty good breakdown review there from Julian Cannon. Yeah, I have to agree. I think maybe it could be my favourite episode as well of this 11B. And I have to say, the actor who plays Sebastian he's very good. You hate the character so much. Lance Hornsby is another great character. Like, I didn't know how I was going to feel with the Commonwealth, coming into this community, because it's very like our own world in terms of money, society, status, politicians, all that kind of stuff. But I have to say, the actors who play these characters, Mercer included, are terrific, and they're really, really good to look at. So I'm over that kind of second thought I had about the Commonwealth. I really like the storyline right now, and it was interesting to see that Negan is now married and expecting a child. I don't know how I feel about that one, to be honest, and I don't know if it's going to end good for Negan, because remember, he does have a spin-off show with Maggie where they go to New York. Now, maybe it's for supplies, maybe it's to save somebody, I don't know, but will Negan's wife survive, and will the child survive? That's going to be very, very interesting. What happens in the future with Hershel Jr. and Negan? What is going to happen with those characters? Could we see in a few seasons, they cast a different actor for Hershel, like time goes by, and we see a teenage Hershel interacting with Negan or trying to kill Negan? That's something that could definitely happen. But I thought this episode was terrific. You got the group kind of working together to take on the Commonwealth. Toby, trying to cover up this big thing for Lance. Lance Hornsby is he's a character that I love to watch, but I hate the character as well, because he's backstabbing people, he's two-faced, he's just in it for his own agenda, and he's a character that's well crafted, I think, by the creators of the show, the writers of the show. But yeah, and I got to see a promo for next week's episode where Toby was kind of, Toby is dead now because Aaron killed him, but you had Lance kind of questioning Aaron and Gabriel about what actually happened, which makes sense as well, because Toby was a former FBI agent or an assassin or something like that, so it would not be easy to take him down. So that's probably why Lance is thinking, what really went down here? And I think he'll probably find out in a few episodes or so. But I have to say, Rick left back in season 9. That was very, very sad. But a lot of the side characters have really stood up to the plate. And Aaron is one of those characters. He looks like the Rick Grimes from the comic books. He's missing the arm. He's got the beard. Stuff like that. He's the leader of Alexandria. I really like Aaron. I do. I really like that character. And I hope he survives. But also, it will be a big shock and a big turn of events if he was killed off. If he did get the comic Rick death. Because somebody has to get it. Rick isn't around to get it. He has movies to do and stuff like that. I don't think Daryl will get it or anybody like that. But I think Aaron or Gabriel could definitely get that, with Sebastian maybe killing them. So that's going to be very, very scary, but also very interesting if it does happen. But I love the brutalness of Aaron, because if you look at Gabriel, he is at a point now where he will kill anybody. He does not care. We got to see that in the extended episodes of last season during COVID. He killed that guy Maze. He just had no hesitation whatsoever. Now Aaron is slowly getting that as well, because they know that this has gone on for too long. This survival, mode has gone on for too long. They want solitude. They want peace. They want life. They want to live. They want a future for their children. And they're having to kill people even when maybe it's not always called for. But maybe it is always called for, because if you don't kill those people, it could come back around to bite you and somebody ends up dying. So maybe brutality is the right way forward until they get their solitude and peace. But we have seen with characters in the past where they have been very ruthless and brutal, but it comes back to haunt them. Carl, we've seen with Rick, we've seen with Morgan. Rick decided to keep Negan alive. So this could come back around to bite Gabriel and Aaron. There's only so far you can go in terms of killing people non-stop. And it could come to a point where it catches up with Gabriel and Aaron, where they kill one more person too many, and maybe then it ends up being them who's the one who's killed in the end of it. We'll have to see how it goes. But this episode was really good. I really enjoyed it. I liked some things I didn't like. I don't know how I feel about Negan and having a kid and stuff like that, because I don't know how I feel about it, because I'm not used to that character that he's with. But we'll see as the episodes go on. But very good episode, very enjoyable. Great pace to it, some nice action, some nice twists, some nice turns. I thought Negan was going to be dead by Hershel shooting him, but it didn't happen, and it still could in future seasons. But guys, what was your thoughts on The Walking Dead Season 11, Episode 14? Make sure you give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. Get into the comment section, let me know your thoughts, really appreciate it, and I will see you for next week's review of Episode 15. I actually forgot to mention, it was kind of the last scene of the episode. We got to see that it was Leah that attacked the Commonwealth guards and took their guns. So it looks like she is going to try and get revenge on Daryl, Negan, and especially Maggie for killing her family, her friends. So yeah, it was Leah. She is not done in the show yet. She will come back, and it looks like she will be a threat. In what way, I'm not too sure, because she's on her own. Will she go on a suicide mission? I'm not too sure. Guys, let me know your thoughts. See you for next week's review.